Keller Williams Arizona Realty brings you Ignite 2.0, session number 5, goal setting with Rich Barker.
Okay, so today's Ignite session is all about goal setting and talking about some of the great tools that Keller Williams just in general kind of teaches people to use and how to use them effectively. And I couldn't think of a better person to teach this to us than Rich Barker, who has one of the highest producing teams here in our company and also works with a MAPS coach himself. So when he's talking to you about goal setting, I honestly know that just personally and professionally, when Rich sets a goal, he's going to hit it, and he has the systems and models on how to get himself in position to do so. So he is the perfect person to teach us about goal setting. So I am going to turn it over to Rich, and you can take it away. And if you need me to do anything on this side with slides, Rich, just let me know. But we're super casual, so
awesome.
Just let it roll.
Awesome. And I'm going to pull up the area that kind of shows me this. Are you playing the slides right now as well with this or no?
I am not. So
Okay,
I have my book off to the side, but
Perfect.
If you want to pull up the screen, good.
All right. Awesome. All right. Hey, welcome. I'm not sure how many people in our group that I've met before, but my name is Rich Barker. I've been with Keller Williams since 2010 is when I joined real estate, March of 2010. And stayed with them this entire time and have ownership in multiple market centers with our ownership group here in Scottsdale, as well as other areas throughout the state, as well as a little bit of the title company, and just really, honestly, really excited to be part of Keller Williams. Because without Keller Williams, none of these opportunities would ever have been brought to my attention or brought to me. That really teaches me how to grow a business. So that's who I am. I've been doing this since 2010. Started on the team, partnered with the team owner within 6 months of being in real estate, or by the end of 2010, I was full business partners going into 2011. Created my own team midway through 2012 because of lack of systems, models, and goal setting, which we'll get into. Created my own team, got into MAPS coaching 6 months into the industry, dead broke, no money, coaching baseball lessons so I can pay for my real estate lessons. I'm a former major league pitcher with the Cubs, so my background obviously is pitching or baseball, so I was able to teach and coach to gain money to use it for something that I needed. So that's how I actually paid for coaching $1,000 a month when I first got in the industry. And what I'll tell you is within 3 years of being in the industry, I got invited to be into Gary Keller's top mastermind group within 3 years of being in the industry. It has nothing to do with me being smart. I'm smart enough to know that I need to get really good people around me to help me achieve my goals, to help me coach, and to help put system models in place. And that's why I thought KW was a perfect fit for me, because there are systems models that are in place for us to have massive success. And success starts by goal setting and by training and technology, right? But it first starts with goal setting. So during this time that we're together, if anyone has questions, you can raise your hand in the chat, and Jackie, if you can pay attention to that, that would mean 4 things at one time, and I'm lucky to do one thing good at one time because I got your screen up, I got my trainer's manual up, and I got my book behind me, my platform behind me. So that's 3 things so thank you for doing that.
You're good. I got the chat box for you.
Awesome. And during this time, and we don't have, we have an hour to go through this. So some of the stuff we may not go 4, 5, 6 layers deep. We may go surface level, but you got a great productivity coach and trainer with Jackie. So she'll kind of carry you on after we get through all this. So right now, are there any questions that you may have before we actually get started? No?
Rich, did you want me to pull it up on the screen, or are you going to share your screen as well?
Why don't you pull up on your screen? The only reason why is because it doesn't show the presenters. I can't figure out to get the presenters, so I just got my trainer's manual open.
Give me just a second so I can see that I'm on the same page as you. Should come up here in a second. Okay.
All right, awesome. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is, who wants to share something with us today that you're grateful for so far in this journey of Ignite? Is there any ahas, anything that you're grateful for since you started? I'll call people out.
There's just too much. I'm grateful for Jackie for putting everything together. How about that?
Fire hose, right? Drinking out of a fire hose.
Yeah.
I'm thankful for just honestly all the different agents like yourself, Rich, that have taken the time out of their morning and your lead gen time to pour into us, because it's so great to hear different perspectives. And that's what really helps everybody learn how they're going to run their systems and models most effectively. And by hearing from multiple people, that definitely helps. So I'm grateful for you guys.
Thank you. Thank you. So one other question, and I'll have other people that participate in here on this question. What are you most excited about today? There's a crazy, crazy world that's going on. And if you don't have the right mindset and the right goal in place to go along with your mindset, it's going to be very hard to be excited about anything right now because we're all trapped in the home. So what are you guys excited for? Can we have some, some quick little shares?
I am excited and fascinated to see all of the social changes that will come out. All of the opportunities, all of the things we say goodbye to. Some of the things we say goodbye to that we're sad about, but I think there's so much opportunity as a society to change.
Yeah, really great opportunities about what else? Anyone else? One or two more people, and then we'll start moving on.
They'll join.
Eric looks very excited to talk about something.
Well, I think in my case, the tech, I'm excited about the tech. Sometimes I'm pulling my hair out, but I enjoy learning it. And there have been a lot of tech changes lately, especially with the quarantine and everything. So just keeping up with the current situation.
Awesome. One more share and we'll get going.
I'm excited about hopefully getting some advertising going and getting some traction.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing with us. And during this whole time, if you guys have any questions as we're going through, something doesn't make sense, raise your hand, speak up. Sometimes I'll start rambling. Don't worry about cutting me off. You're not going to offend me, believe me. So if something doesn't make sense, raise your hand. I talk funny and I talk fast. So I understand. So all good. All right. Today's main focus, obviously, is about goal setting. And it's about how we're going to cultivate our leads into seller opportunities and buyer opportunities. Right now, it's more so now than ever, we really need to focus on our daily activity. And one of the main things that we're working on for growing our business, what's going to be the highlight today, is lead generation for buyers and sellers. And then other things that you got to do on a daily basis is make seller listing presentations to get listings, make buyer presentations to get listings, and preview the market and preview real estate. That's working on growing your business. Running your business, if you see the 9 points, we're going to focus on number 6 and number 7. Yet what's really important that you need to understand is marketing your seller listings, showing buyer homes, you're negotiating contracts, your transaction management, the closing, your vendor partner relationship, your set goals, compliance and risk management, attend training and coaching, and managing your money. And what I'll say is right now, today is really understanding what is priority and what do we need to do on a daily activity. Each activity is extremely important, but the most important thing right now that anyone can be doing is lead generating. And I will tell you on lead generating, people put an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, great. I mean, all of it's awesome and amazing. Yeah, one of the things that I do for Mind Shift is great. I lead generate for 2 hours, yet I didn't really get any appointments or any nurtures. So what did I really accomplish? Really, I mean, other than making phone calls, reaching out to people, yet that does not put money in my pocket, right? So one of the mind shifts that I have, which Kristen Cole explained to me, is how about not leaving the office or not leaving the lead generating portion of your business, your daily activity, until you set an appointment. That could be in an hour, could be in 7 hours. What I'll tell you is if you set it within 1 hour, I would keep pushing, because there's going to be days that you're on the phones for maybe 5 hours that you get nothing. And that one that you get in the first 30 minutes, you may get 3 or 4 that day. And over time, you'll be hitting your goals, which we're going to get into, of what that number should really look like. Does that all make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Let me just move to the next slide. All right, so one of the things is when we set our goals, we need to envision your big life. All right, today is and I'm gonna read this verbatim, so if it sounds canned, sorry. But then we'll dive into details. So today's gonna be a fun day. Today we're gonna cover setting goals, which is a part of running your business. And to do that, we're gonna ask big questions. Where do you wanna go? What motivates you? And last and certainly, but not least, how did you get there? Okay, so right now this is called set goals that matter and what makes a goal matter. Let me ask, raise a hand. What makes a goal matter? You can take yourself off mute and you can start going out or talking out. Any ideas out there? What makes a goal matter?
Setting up realistic expectations, or just getting a vision of what you need to do.
Awesome. Great answer. What else?
Does it move you along to where you want to be ultimately?
Love that. Yep.
How about setting a goal that makes a difference in your life? Set a goal that if you accomplish it, it'll have a major effect on your life.
Love that answer. I'm going to ask one more, and then I'm going to you guys are all saying it, and ladies are all saying it, and I'm going to kind of give you the definition that we use.
About setting a goal that you can actually achieve and work towards.
Awesome. So the second to last answer was right on point, and the third to last answer was pretty much on point as well. It's tied to something that you care about. And when you hit your goal, it will have a real effect on your life. It is achievable, right? So the last person that just spoke, I mean, that was right on the money, and the 2 before that was right on the money. So envisioning that, what your big life looks like, is extremely important, okay? So we're gonna start working on that. So next slide, we're gonna talk about who has heard of The One Thing. Has everyone heard The One Thing? If you haven't, go read it. It's an amazing, amazing book, and read it like 5 times a year. Start off with 1 time a year, then add on to that. So don't achieve that's a goal, right? 5 times a year. Let's work on the first one though. All right. The One Thing is a book that Gary Keller and Jay Papasan wrote about structuring your life to achieve your goals. We're going to be talking a few things of principles from The One Thing, but you should definitely check it out for yourself. Again, canned version, so I sound canned. Somebody on the Zoom call, please read the quote for me. Anybody? Kevin, you look so ready to go. Kevin Cuff, there we go.
All right. Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish.
Awesome. Keith, can you read it one more time, please?
Who we are and where we want to go determine what we do and what we accomplish.
All right, thinking about this quote, why is that important to setting your goals? Just think about that. Why is that important? And what I'll say is it's important to set your goals because the opposite of this quote is also true. What you do and what you accomplish determines who you are, where you go, and if your activities don't have a guiding goal, you'll likely be very busy and not have a lot to show for it. You ever hear that bold law, don't expect movement for achievement?
Yep.
Right? That's a bold law. That's kind of what this little saying is.
Sure.
I can stay busy. I'm telling you right now, I can stay busy all day. I mean, look at my disaster
Depends what
mess
day.
right
I
there.
mean, I
Oh,
prefer
hold
the
on.
afternoon.
You guys, if you could do me a favor and just mute yourself if you're not
meetings in the morning.
speaking. I'm having
What
trouble
time?
figuring out where that background noise is coming from. I can't quite hear Rich. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So we can have a lot of movement.
You look for what day is that? Do you know?
Hello?
Wednesday.
Hold on. I think I know where it's coming from. All right, I got it. Got it.
All
Yep.
right. Believe me, I've done that plenty. I did that the other day with Kristen and a couple of us on the phone.
I think we have a group of moms too that are helping their kids. So I know she was helping her kid with schoolwork.
No worries. So it's basically don't expect movement for achievement. This is a ton of movement. That stuff all falls. I have to get done. And this would not do anything for my business at all. But I could feel very accomplished by fixing that complete mess, especially sending my Mother's Day cards, which I forgot. So sorry. All right, squirrel, going back on point. All right, so we need to set our goals. And the mission of Keller Williams is to build careers worth having, businesses worth owning, lives worth living, experiences worth giving, and legacies worth leaving. None of these things just happen. Setting goals that matter means doing the work that matters. Not everything is equal. When our work matters, we tend to do more of it and we do it well. So let's move on to the next part. Part of achieving our goals is working hard. I think we all can agree on that. I mean, everyone in here has been successful at some point in their life. Just kind of think back when you were successful, the work that it took to get to that level. I pitched in the major leagues. I threw the ball 95, 96 miles an hour. That was freaking easy. I was born with that. The work that I had to put in to actually get from rookie ball, the low A, the high A, the double A, the triple A to the big leagues, that was the extreme chaos of massively taking action of working hard and working very strategic to learn tendencies of hitters and honestly tendencies of the umpires that call balls and strikes. I had to put the work in to know who was my umpire that day, who am I facing, and studying their tendencies in certain game situations so I can be ready when I come in that situation. I have a plan that I can execute. Okay? So the ultimate goal for me at my life was to get to the big leagues. That was my big outcome. If you look at this graph, you have actions, you have small outcomes and big outcomes. Thinking big for your time and effort. My goal was to think big, was to get to the major leagues. That's my big outcome. If I was thinking small, my small outcome was just to get drafted. I play a couple of years in the minor leagues, I get released, and I hit my goal, right? Because my goal was to get drafted. Well, that's not thinking big. Thinking big is the big leagues. And that's kind of what I just want to share with you. We need to think big, right? You just don't get big outcomes from thinking small. When we're talking about what we're talking about here is we're talking about thinking big when setting goals and thinking big on how to reach those goals. You have to ask yourself, what are you doing? How you do it? Who are you doing it with? And these answers can limit your outcome or they can propel you forward. Think about that, right? You have to ask yourself, what are you doing? How are you doing it? How are you going to do it? Who are you doing it with? And these answers can limit your outcome or they can propel you forward. Let me ask you, let me have some thoughts around that statement. What do I mean by that?
You know, it kind of reminds me, Rich, there are some of us reading The One Thing right now and just thinking about having that big someday goal, right? And then thinking about, okay, what am I going to do every day? That little piece, that domino that I'm going to knock down every day, that's going to get me 1% better or 1% closer to my big goal, and really thinking about, I know we talk a lot of the guys in the coaching program know we talk about this all the time, like what's that thing that's going to wake us up and keep us motivated to do some parts of the job that we don't like to do, because we know the outcome is going to be big. So what's our why behind that? How are we going to get there? And who's going to help us? What do we need? What are we going to leverage? Who's going to help us? How are we going to get there?
Yep. I mean, right on point. I mean, who are you working with? Who is around you? Who is pushing you? And your biggest thing is, what's your big why? Because without your big why, I mean, you're just going along with life without a plan, right? So a lot of new agents, it doesn't matter what level, you're new or you've been in business, many new agents, but they limit themselves right away. And what I mean by that is, I'm one of them. I'm raising my hand. When I first got in the industry, I did not call my sphere of influence. That's the most ridiculous thing. I'd rather talk to strangers than talk to my database. Talking to people that know me by face and name that potentially could help me get to my big outcome, especially new in the industry, right? So, I mean, one of the things is, call your sphere of influence. Just don't hope business will come your way. I see a lot of agents out there, they get their license and they hope that, if you build it, they will come type of attitude. Maybe you're not systematic about lead generation. Maybe you refuse to learn new scripts that would help your job easier. Most of the agents don't stay in the business because they don't treat it as a business, or they burn out because they aren't seeing a good return for their time and effort. That's the number one thing that we'll see, is that you're not getting the return from the time and effort, and you expect to get the results by not diving deep and with a system that's organized around your database, because that's going to help propel your business right off the bat. Everyone that you is in your, I say Rolodex, but that will, all your millennials don't have any idea what the Rolodex is. But whatever's in this thing, everybody should get a phone call, a text message, an email, a video email, introducing yourself, not Rich Barker, the baseball player. Hey, this is Rich Barker. I know that we've been, and this is true life. Hey, everyone knows me as Richie. In baseball, everyone calls me Richie. I have no idea. But this is Richie. And I try to say, listen, this isn't Richie, the baseball player. This is Richie, a real estate profession. Mm. And they need to know the difference. You can't just assume that your friends and family are going to use you. I promise you, your best friend that you think that you don't have to do that buyer broker presentation, or you don't have to call and make that, that intro call that you just moved into real estate. They will use somebody else not knowing, because you're not top of mind to them. It will happen to you. It will happen. It happens probably to 99.9. I would say it's going to happen to 110% of agents that get in the industry. It just happened to someone on my team that's been in the industry for over 2 years, because he was a broker in Boston. He's a good friend of his, and he would never use anybody else. Well, guess what? He used somebody else because he talked with a lender that wasn't part of remember we talked about vendor control, because he didn't stay on top of our partner for our lender. So he talked to another lender, and that lender put him in touch with his son. And now he just went under contract for $310,000. And he said the next time he saw him, punch me in the face, because I know I did was wrong, yet I got caught up in it and I wanted this house.
Man.
All right. That's a hard lesson. And here he knew I was going to tell him. He's a friend of mine too. He's like, I don't even want to tell you this. I go, no, I'm glad it happened to you. Yeah. Because it will never happen to you again. And sometimes you got to go through that lesson. Okay. So let's move on to the next page. Envisioning your big life. This is a 10-minute exercise, and I'm going to kind of cut it down to 5 minutes, because this isn't the 3-hour presentation or 2 hours that we typically have, but this is really important. All right. We're going to do an activity that will help you envision your big life. Once you have that vision in place, then you can set meaningful goals that will bring you closer to that life. Once you have the goals, we can talk about each of them, and it all begins with your vision. So everyone open up their guide to page 3. your participant guide, if you have it.
If you don't have one, you can just use notes. If you were with us that first week, there was a link that was sent with it, but it'll be pretty self-explanatory as Rich goes through it.
Yeah. All right. What you would like to do for that, okay, one of each of the 5 rectangles, write a person or a cause that you care about. So in this example that you see online, it's donating to a charity. It's their kids' school. It's helping mom and dad, right? So go through it. Now, everyone's going to have something different. So go through in the center. What I'd like you to do is one of each five rectangles, write a person or cause that you care about. And what I'd like you to do for that person or cause, repeat in each triangle, a rectangle that we make. And then in the center circle, quantify the big life requires financial freedom or financial money. How would you like how much would these things cost? So let's just say, in this example, was that cat habitat is $5,000. Get through school debt is $120. Pay off mom's mortgage. I don't know what that one is. How much is that one?
18,000 it looks like.
18,000, and I don't see the other ones to the left or to the right.
I don't either. They just do a half screen.
They just do a half screen, but it all equals $364,000. Okay, so right now, spend a few minutes. Give me 5 circles. Put somebody or something in each one of the rectangles. Make 5 rectangles. Put a number to it, and then put the center number, put the total number in the center. So it's 8:58. I always say 5 minutes, but you're probably gonna end up 3 because I get very impatient quickly. So, but like I said, we're just gonna touch the surface on this stuff. I just want you to kind of get your mindset around what it looks like, because what's gonna happen is after this, you're gonna start setting your goals with Jackie on how you're gonna accomplish them. So go ahead, shoot. And continue doing it. I'm going to kind of talk in the background. Some parts of your big life will likely require time as well as money. I got to remind you that you guys are business owners. You will need to create a budget in time and as well as money. What would you need to do to make sure that you're able to spend more time doing the things that you love? You can actually be one of those people as well in the rectangle and prioritize your health so you have more time and energy to give, paying off your student loans, paying off your parents' debt, donating to your charity cause. There's no wrong answer. And I will tell you, your health, going through for 2 years, health challenges that I went through is extremely important. And if you don't prioritize that, you could be in a lot of trouble. And when you're in a plane, what's the flight attendant? See, I said flight attendant, not stewardess. That's a good shift for me. Your flight attendant will say, the oxygen mask will come down, put it over yourself first, then you can help your loved one. So if you don't take care of yourself first, how can you help anybody else? So health for you, priority should be number 1. I'll give you about 30 more seconds.
Hey, Rich, how often do you say you do activities like this in terms of goal setting or reflecting, things like that?
Yeah. So one of the main things, so to answer your question is, honestly, every month I'm reviewing what I have in place that I set. Around August, September, I start planning for the following year, because then we do our business retreat with all the locations in our entire organization in November, so we can execute starting January 1st. And what I'll tell you is, when you set your goals up in advance like that, you build yourself runway going into the year. So setting it like December, January, you don't really have runway to play with. It's just a mind shift.
Right.
For me, it just helps my mind. So I start in August, and then I'm actually implementing some of the following years, the following year's strategies, because I know we're going to get there because it gives me runway. Yet what I'll tell you is once it's solidified and down on paper, you're reviewing that monthly. And it's not that you're going to change your goals. You're going to have to readjust your activity based on the outcomes that your goal did or did not do.
Love that.
All right. So part of that is about understanding your goal. Okay. The first thing you need to understand is how your commissions work. And when we go into these numbers and when we start seeing stuff with the company dollar and the cap structure that has changed, these numbers are definitely off because it has higher numbers. Yeah, you'll get the concept of what we're trying to accomplish. So many new agents get their check for the first closings. They pocket it all. It's an exciting amount of money, and that will get you in trouble down the line. And let's talk about where the money goes and how much you actually will be going to your goal. These numbers are very general, and they're meant as an example. Actual amounts are very specific to what, to the market and your average sale price and company and cap structure. All right. Let's say if you are on the seller side of the transaction, half the commission goes away to the buyer's agent. Same true if you're the buyer's agent, paying 50% split to the seller's agent. All right. So you're stuck with roughly it's about 3% is what the market is typically here. Once you have your half, about a third of it goes to the market center. Again, that does change, right? But just go with the idea. A third of it goes to the market center to cover your company dollar, franchise, royalty, and fees. Once you have, after paying the market center, roughly 1/3 goes back into your business. This covers marketing, operating expense, signs, your car, your phone, anything else that you need to conduct and grow your business. Finally, you get your share with a caveat. Your take home includes taxes. Put money away for your taxes religiously. You don't want to have a year's worth of work wiped out because you just failed a plan. I have seen, honestly, I can't even tell you how many agents. If you did a poll right now of all the agents, the 70,000 agents in the world or the country, and ask them how many people don't pay taxes on time or delinquent on taxes, I'm guessing, I bet you it's over 50%.
I messed up my first year.
I did my first 3 years.
Yep.
My first 3 years, because I was broke. I had no money, so I wanted to keep everything.
Same.
I'm like, the government won't know. Yeah, right. They'll let it slide. Yeah, right. No shot. So, and I'm all caught up for 2 years, 3 years now. I'm all caught up. I didn't get myself in trouble because I did put a plan in place to get caught up for 2 years. 3 years, I was like that. Yet, what I'll tell you is that's what you guys need to know, right? You need to put it, you don't want to have a year's worth away. So here's the structure. Average sale price is $300. The average commission is $9,000, right?
Sorry, did I go too fast?
Yep, go back to the first. Yeah, you were right. There you go. Awesome. Again, updated for what you want. So first, we're going to estimate the average sales price and the average GCI, what you want to make. So can I ask permission to kind of go off? This is kind of where I want to go off of slides. Is that okay? Because we don't
I'm going to stop the share for a second so I can see everybody in full screen, and then I can always come back to it when you're ready. So yes.
Yeah. All right. The reason why I want to do that is this goal sheet, this pipeline transaction goal sheet, it will bog us down for, I'm not kidding you, for hours, because you're gonna have a ton of questions. It's not very difficult but for the first time of seeing it, it will be difficult and we'll ask for a lot of questions. But I'm gonna give you the concept of it and what it means and what it means and how to accomplish it. So let's just say you have a goal of a net income goal of $100,000. So I'm going to I did this, hold on. That's not even good. Okay.
If you can bring it closer, we'll be able to see it. Yeah.
I see it. All right. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. So say your goal is 100 grand to make $100,000. All right. And so that's your goal. Net. We'll talk about net and all that in a second. But there's your goal. The average sale price is $300K.
Rich, you're going to have to make it a little closer or larger.
I was going to say write a little bit bigger.
Can you see it now?
And write your numbers a little bit bigger. You can see the marker, it's just tiny. So maybe if you just write bigger, that would help. Thank you.
300K.
There we go.
Sorry, 300K is your average sale price, right? 3% is $9,000, right? This might be a horrible thing because I'm getting too big and too small. I may have to do it. All right. So let's just go with $9,000. $9,000, and you want to make 100,000. So how much is that? How many transactions do you got to do? Anybody? Who has a calculator?
11 or 12.
About 11 to 12. All right. 11 transactions. We'll get you about 99. Just say that's 100K. All right. Out of that 100K, do you net 100K?
No.
No, you don't. What are expenses that you have? You know, this interactive part with this sticky note was a good idea. Now I'm liking the slides a little bit better.
No, it's working. You're good. You're good.
All right.
40% goes to Keller Williams.
Give me some of your expenses that you have.
Say it again, Gavin.
Well, 35 goes to Keller Williams, 5 goes to Jackie.
40%
Let's see,
taxes.
about 150 goes to Lister's sister. $150.
Yeah. So let's not go numbers. Let's just go. Let's go category. So you got product. You got PC program.
That's
What
5%.
else?
Oh, no numbers, sorry.
Yeah. You got,
Market center,
yep. So I'm going to call that company dollar.
taxes,
I'm gonna do royalty as well, just because they go together. Taxes.
Advertising, marketing.
Marketing.
yeah, other business expenses.
Okay. So let's just say,
Parking.
what was that?
I was saying parking expenses. I was doing park the car in the yard.
Park the car in the yard. What you get a ticket or something for double parking? You know? All
Yeah,
right.
I got a ticket for double parking. I'll drop it.
All right. So we know royalty is how much? 3,000. Right? I'm just going to use the old company dollar just because I know the math, it's just easier. So that's 18,000. Taxes on the 100,000. If you have a good accountant, you're going to pay about 10,000. You didn't hear that from me. No. Let's just say, man, honestly, yeah, on 100,000, you may pay 20,000. You may pay 20,000. If you don't like your tax guy, let me know. I have a great one for you. No.
Look at that vendor support live and in action right now.
And let's go marketing, like marketing, cell phone, miscellaneous type of stuff. On a $100,000 business, honestly, your marketing is not going to be a much. I mean, that depending on how you're getting your business, right? Open houses, door knocking, prospecting is not really going to cost you a lot. Facebook ad campaigns through command. I mean, if you spent, honestly, it may be on this business, you may spend you know, a few grand a year, couple thousand a year, maybe. I mean, you're not going to spend much depending on your lead levers. Let's just say all that stuff is another, with phone bills and all that, let's just call it another $5,000. So we got 20, 38, 41, $46,000 in additional. Can we all agree on, again, this is just, it's just to give you the concept of what we really need to do. Can we kind of all agree on that?
Yep.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that 150,000 because it's easier math. Now, on 150,000 at $9,000 average commission, how many deals you got to do? What's 150 divided by 9,000?
We can just go about 15. Let's just call it 15, 17, 15 to 17.
Yeah. So let's just say 17 transactions. Now, when I break it down like that, to do 17 transactions, to net $100,000, does that sound doable?
Yes.
Achievable. Can you measure? Is there something you can measure? Is there something you can track? Right?
Absolutely.
Right? So that's my quick version of this entire worksheet of the transaction goals and your goal setting, is to really figure out what that number is based on the slides before. We had you do the rectangles, and those rectangles can be anything you want. Tie it to your big why. What motivates you every morning to get up and do the activity to get you to your $150,000 in gross commission income? 17 transactions in 1 year. I'm going to tell you, and this is not to be cocky, arrogant, or anything like that, 17 transactions to me is a joke. As a sole, forget that I had a team. I could care less about all that. My first year in the industry, being coached and being trained and following the model and system and training and education, which you guys and ladies are here today on, propelled me to 19 transactions from March of 2010 to December 31st of 2010. 19 transactions, and 0 of that business was from my baseball people. Because what did I tell you when I first started? I didn't call anyone in my freaking database. So it's not that I'm better than anyone else. That has nothing to do with it. There's a model, a system, there's scripts in place that if you just open up your mind, and here's my 3 rules for me. Be on time, be open-minded. Oh my God, I said it backwards. Show up, be on time, and be open-minded. And there's a lot that goes into that. If you do all those 3 things, I promise you, within 2 years of being in the industry, you can make $150,000. And we have proven it over and over for the people that are willing to do the work on our team. Within 2 years, they're making they're making 150 plus. Now, if you don't do the work, we have produced 4 rookies, myself, 5 rookies of the year since 2011, well, including me, since 2010. So in 10 years that we've been in business, in Keller Williams Arizona Realty, it might be 4, I'm not sure. But regardless, and it has nothing to do with people joining my team. It has to do with people joining my team by trusting in us to follow the models and systems that Gary put in place. You don't need, and I say this because I'm not trying to recruit anybody. You don't need a team to get you to this number. I promise you, put the activities. I don't care about the outcomes. Outcomes are irrelevant. Outcomes are not what's going to make the business for you. Your activity that you do every single day, it's what's going to help you get to these goals. And Gary will tell you that, success, it's very boring. The lead generate every single day, and to create tasks, and I'm going to show you what I do every day. This is 1 day's worth of work. I put the time or the the date up top. Yeah, this is all 1 day's worth of work. I make my to-do list and so on and so forth, and then I go after it. And we're going to go into that in a second of your big rocks, your 20% and your 80% in a second. This is what I do every single day. I prepare this every night, and then I go to action the next day. Before I move on to the big rocks, because we have 14 minutes to go through this, I really want 10 minutes to go through this and then open up for more questions. Any questions on anything that I say?
Rich, I'd just like to comment that you just hit on, I think, the most important thing. For 30 years, I was in another field, and I ended up with 200 goals, but on a daily basis, I would sit down and write as many as 150 things on my to-do list, which would move me towards those goals to be successful at that career. Like you were in baseball, I was in another field, and 10 years ago got into this field. But it's all about what you do every single day and having your list and just going at it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Because this has nothing to do with real estate. This is business, right? It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Hey, Rich. So quick question on the first year when you weren't calling your database, what was your action plan during that first year? How did you generate 19 leads without even using your database?
5 to 6 open houses a week. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I'm very blunt about this on my team, it doesn't go, like, there's nothing wrong with this. It's just the way I am. Open houses for 2 or 3 hours a day, to me, for me personally, I would step it up to have them much longer. So, all right. So what I'll tell you is that I'm not kidding you. My office was the open house. I religiously did 5 to 6 open houses every single week I'm not kidding you, for 2 years. I door knocked, I circle prospect, I did handwritten notes to everyone I door knocked, anyone that I got in touch with. I sent videos to everybody. There was this program back then, I can't remember what it's called, that I did video emails. So as soon as they left my open house, they got a video email. I'm still and I'm selling a home for somebody I met April of 2010. I did about 10 transactions with them because I became an investor. Young couple, they live in California, and I'm selling their first home that they bought together, that they lived here right as we speak. And that's because they got a video email before they got to their next open house of me with their home in the background. Or another strategy is get the little quart of ice cream and give it to everyone that walks in. And everyone loves ice cream, and it's getting hot now, and it will melt if they don't go right home. So give them the ice cream so they don't go anywhere. That's another strategy.
Rich, can we, I know this is a little off topic,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's a question that might come up since that was your answer on how you got business. What has shifted with open houses right now with you and your team? And where do you see that kind of heading for us? Just because I feel like that might come up.
Yeah. So on my team, right now, we're doing, everyone on our team, for the most part, is doing 4 open houses a week. Before we were 2 to 3, now we're 4. And the reason why is we have about a 4-week period, in my opinion, to do some land grabbing. Because agents are maybe doing live open houses. Some agents aren't. Buyers are all cooped up. We're opening up the state a little bit. Our open houses, our in-person open houses for the past 2 weeks have been pretty busy. We have been prospecting, circle prospecting hard around those open houses. And if they don't want, we set up the virtual link as well so they can go virtual. So my thing would be door knock, which we're not door knocking, right? We only can put hangers in because people aren't opening up the door, but you can make a phone call to everyone around that neighborhood. So door knocking, dropping off the flyer, circle prospecting, and kill it on open houses. During the weekday, I would get, I always like to try to find one around the school, because now there's no school, but before there was school. But I would be set up by 1 o'clock, and I would stay until, depending on, I always had like a game I played. If it gets dark at 5, I would stay to 5:20. It's a 20-minute rule. And that would keep me motivated. So if it's 6 o'clock, I would stay to 6:20. And I'm not kidding you, at the end of the year, I promise you I had 4 or 5 deals because of that extra 20 minutes. It's just motivated me. It's a game I played with myself.
The extra rep.
That's it. Yeah.
You see traffic still holding steady even in the last few weeks, over this time period?
We had, on that house I told you that was selling for that client that I met back in 2010, we had 24 groups there in 2 days.
Wow. And you still have residents live there in a closet during the open house? Where are the people going? They grocery shop for 4 hours, or what are they doing?
Sellers out. They turned it into a rental. They turned it into a rental, and it's been rented. So I mean, it was rented. So there's no one living in there right now. Now that being said, our other ones, they leave. I don't know where they go. And we didn't ask them to do them. They asked us to do them about 2 weeks ago, and then we asked our agents if you want to do them. Now we have protocol in place, like no more than 2 groups at a time. We have masks, we got everything in place for that.
Right.
But that being said, from even Fountain Hills open houses, we're getting really good traffic. We're selling homes virtually. We put 2 in escrow. Client never this weekend, and the client never saw the house, and they won't see it until after we close.
Gotcha. Okay,
So,
great. Thank you.
Yeah, open houses.
Richard, open houses are great. Mr. Dantley, who for many years was the largest grossing agent in the state, I saw him one time at a seminar. He said that he started doing open houses 7 days a week, and he's now grossing $4 to $5 million a year.
Yeah. Chris Suarez is another person. Find the one thing that you're excellent at and dive 7-8 layers deep. And he put him in any area within the year, he's going to be making 6 figures, or the person that, that follows his lead will make 6 figures. He has it down to a T. So yeah, open houses. Can't stress enough about that. Love open houses. So yeah. So one of the things we're gonna go into, we have 10 minutes, 7 minutes. So one of the things I would highly recommend, throw your goals into command, right? That way that
show them about that, so you don't even have to worry about
it. All right, perfect. All right, let's go into
I'm gonna skip over it because I'm gonna do that at the end.
Awesome. Let's go into the 80-20 principle. This is called about do the right activities. Now, I'm going to break it down a little bit deeper for you. And I'm going to write it. Oh, crap. I got another one of these things. Hold on. All right. Okay. Yeah, has everyone heard the 80-20 principle?
I think there might be some newer people. There are definitely some newer people to real estate, so you might want to review it, Rich.
Awesome. All right. I'm going to give you kind of the definition, the meaning behind it. In the 1940s, quality control manager Dr. Joseph Juran documented a life-changing universal principle that he called vital few and trivial many. The idea was, you know what? I'm going to tell you what my 80-20, because I don't speak like this. Here we go. 80-20 rule. 20% of your efforts that you do and the activity that you do will produce 80% of your results. And let me say that again. 20% of your effort, of your top majority, the top things that you need to do will produce 80% of your results. And I'm going to kind of give you an example. Forget about that. How many people, if you go into your closet, you know this one, right? And it's so freaking true. I just don't go to the dry cleaners. I just pack up everything, so I wear it. I promise you that everything in your closet, you wear 20% of the items that are in there. I bet you wear the same pair of pants throughout the week, maybe different colors, but it's the same style, different colors. Shirts, whatever it may be is. I promise you, you can eliminate 80% of the clothes in your closet. So think of it that way. So what are the efforts? And that's what we talk about the 80-20 principle. Even in real estate, 20% of the agents do 80% of the results. What I'll tell you is it's probably 90%, 10% of the agents are doing 90% of the results. I mean, it's getting that deep right now. So you need to identify this. In my opinion, there's three lanes. Big rocks. 20%, I'm going to get out of the lane in a second. 80%. Everyone see that?
Scoot it up just a little, Rich. Great. Perfect.
All right. Your big rocks. What's included in your big rocks? Your big rocks are these are the things that you need to do every single day before anything else happens.
We've been talking about them. We've been talking about those 5 things like Gary tells us to time block for.
Everything. You don't get to move because after you get to this, then you get to your top 20% of activities. Right? What I'll tell you is these 5 things that you have will take a place of your 20%. A lot of these two are going back and forth between each other. But if you don't start with your big rocks and fill that sandbox up properly, you're not going to be able to fill with your top 20%. So your big rocks happen first, your 20% happen next, and then your 80% you get to when all these 2 things are done. Real quick analogy. Your big rocks. If I don't do this today, it's going to make my business go backwards. Right? This is coming out of corporate America, venture corporate 500 type of companies that I've learned. If I don't do this today, my business will go backwards. So this has to get done. Your 20%. If this does not happen today, I cannot move my business forward. If this does not happen today, I can't move my business forward. And the last thing, and I'm gonna read this because this is the one I always struggle with myself, is your 80%. I'm sorry, I want to read this direct.
You're good. This is good.
Things that you should do to move your business forward, but if you don't do the business, it's a plan to move forward. I'll repeat that
one more time, yeah.
Things you should do to move the business forward, but if you don't do the business, and it's planned to move it forward. But if you don't do the business, it's a plan to move your business forward. So that was a big aha that I just learned about 2 weeks ago. Big rocks. If I don't do this, my business will not move forward. My business will go backwards. My 20%, if I don't do this, I can't move my business forward. And my 80% is if I don't do it, it's a plan to move my business forward when these things are done. All right, let that sink in because that is huge. That's the 80-20 principle. That's it. So before I open up for questions, what I want to say is, let's open up for questions because that's real. That is it. It's lead generate every single day with a system and process in place that's structured around your big why, your big goal, and positioning yourself to have success every day. And that's setting up a structure to do your big rocks, your 20%, and your 80%. And until that happens, which is your lead generate for sellers, nothing else matters. So what's the one thing you can do right now that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? What would that be? Lead generate. All right, open up for questions.
What are your 5 big rocks?
It changes every day. It changes every week for me.
Okay.
So, and what I'll tell you is, because I'm in the business, I'm still in production as well as running a business, right? So my big rocks, if people are like, hey, can I shadow you? Can I watch you? I'm like, I would let anyone shadow me. The problem is that the majority of the stuff I'm going to be doing is not going to help you in your business to learn what you need to do today. So number one goal for me every single day is one of my big rocks is lead generate, period. That's always happening.
How do you do it?
Phones. I'm on the phones. I'm relentless on the phones. What I'll tell you is I'm relentless with my database. That is my number one source is my database. I love working my database.
So do you just call, like you sit down and you make like 50 calls or something like that?
Yeah, I make.
What's your number that you try to hit?
Yeah, so my goal every single month is to schedule 25 listing appointments. Okay. That's my goal, 25 listing appointments. Because I know out of 25, 20 are going to happen, and we'll get 12. That I know. So,
Okay.
yeah, like yesterday, Mother's Day, everyone's like, hey, we don't work No, I freaking work Mother's Day. You know how many people, I'm not kidding, I texted over 50 people, Happy Mother's Day. That's lead generated,
Love it.
right? All right, what else?
What would you say, Rich, is a newer agent, the difference between their big rocks and their 20%? Or do you feel for a newer agent, they're pretty much the same? Like you said, they overlap.
Yeah, I would say to force them into calling their database is one of your big rocks is to get through your entire Rolodex before you can move on to anything else. Because what happens is we're always looking for ways to create new leads. I have 190,000 people in my database. You really think I need a new lead? But it's much easier to create new leads and to chase down these internet leads and blah, 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 which is all good. Yet it's not going to generate you the business that if you just focus on your database and you did your open houses and you did your circle prospecting, I promise you, you'll have a massive business. Again, I'm using door knock, circle prospecting, and open houses and calling into your database. If you hammer that every day, in 2 years, I promise you'll be into 6-figure income. And it's not Rich Barker's method, it's Gary Keller's method. And it's been proven over and over and over.
Oh, sorry, Victoria. I totally just muted her and not. Sorry, Victoria.
Oh, that's okay. I have to run to the school, so I kind of switched to the phone, and it's doing crazy things. So I'm going to mute myself now.
Oh, sorry. I love that.
What else, ladies and gentlemen?
Other questions? Can we get some ahas?
Yes, let's get some ahas.
You know, we have to have at least 3. That's my rule at the end of, we have to have at least 3, if not more. So Rich poured into us this morning. I know I got a ton of takeaways. So what did you guys take away from that? What are some ahas?
My biggest aha is I need to get off my ass. I feel like I'm not doing anything.
Fair and honest reflection, and we appreciate that.
Love it.
I'm the same way. Just feel like I'm not doing nearly enough to, whether it's making phone calls or just doing more touches, just direct messages or even texting. I'm just doing this kind of lightly footing it, so to speak, kind of half-assing it and not really committing to it and creating structure that's going to be repeatable every day.
And Sonia, I want to answer that question. What if you don't have a big sphere? What I'll tell you is open houses is one way to start adding to the database. Circle prospecting. You can add tens of names a week through circle prospecting, and you don't have to have a listing to circle prospect. Find a new listing that's in the area that you want to work in and call the neighbors around there and let them know about that new listing. Right? So that's one thing. And then ask people for referrals that you have in your database. Ask them for help. Right? There's that script. Hey, this is a business call and I really need your help. And people always think what when you ask them that question? It comes down to what? They want money. And we're like, no, I don't want money. I'm in the that's what everyone thinks, right? Everyone thinks, hey, I really need your help today. And they think money. No. Hey, I'm not calling about that. What I'm calling to let you know is I'm in a new profession. As you know, I let you know that I am in real estate. I'm with Keller Williams Arizona Realty. And one of my goals this year is to help 18 families buy, sell, or invest in real estate. And in order to achieve that goal, I really need to rely on my friends and family and my network of people to hit those goals. So is that something that you can help me with?
That's awesome. Thank you, Rich.
No worries. And I don't know anybody. I haven't heard anything. Great. What I'm going to tell you is, I promise you in the next week, you're going to hear someone talk about real estate. Just like when you buy a red car, next thing you know, there's red cars everywhere and you didn't notice them. So if it's okay, I'm going to call you back the same time next week, and I'm going to ask you for the referral again. Is that okay? Right? There's so many scripts. There's so many. There's contest scripts and all that, but that's one script that you could use if you're new. All right.
Thank you.
Another aha. I know we're a little bit over, but that's okay. I love this crap, this stuff. Bad mouth. Anything else? Aha.
Big aha was give out ice cream so they have to go straight home after they look at your house. I like that.
You know who told me that? Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins, the Zig Ziglar. We sold his house, or we were working on selling his house years ago in Paradise Valley, and he told me some of the things that he used to do, and I was like, that's a great freaking trick right there.
That is great, especially in Arizona.
Yep, absolutely. All right, one last one, and then we'll let you all in great hands with Jackie and get crushing your goals.
He's got one more.
One more.
I mean, I have a list, but
I have the list too, right? We'll call out people. It's someone, Victoria, you made eye contact. You're up.
Okay.
No, not Victoria. Sorry, Katie. Katie Hodge.
Katie.
Oh, hi.
You made eye contact.
I would just say, like Mia starting off, I'm very entry level, so I don't even have my license yet. But for me is to find the motivation to get everything started, and to kind of, get moving with the process so I can start to feel that momentum kind of taking off and just, going from there. But it's just getting to those next steps. So that's why I'm kind of doing these as well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Awesome. Now you have more ideas to put up, that have in your brain as you're setting this up.
Right. Exactly.
Ways of looking at things. For
exactly.
Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. So.
And just so you know, another aha came in saying, send an email as soon as someone leaves your open house. I would think to do it at the end of the day after the open house, but not as soon as they leave.
All right. KI phone. All right. Let me respond to that. If they're at your open house, do you think they're going to other open houses in the area?
Yep.
Answer is yes. So if you let them out of your home, and by the time they get to the other open house and they got a text email or video email, or a text video from you, do you think they're going to remember you? Yeah. Over the agent that just lets them out of the house. And now all of a sudden, I promise you, you let them out of the house and they come to my open house, you have no shot. I'm going to beat you every time. I promise you, you're not winning against me. Right? I'm going to build rapport.
Challenge. All right.
I'm going to build. Now you're going to make me do an open house. No, I haven't done open house in years. I'm going to show value. I'm going to build rapport. I'm going to be the area expert. And by the time they leave my open house, they're going to have a portal set up and they're going to have a video message from me of why they need to use me. And at that time, if you don't do that, I just stole your client. Well, it wasn't ever your client because you didn't do your job. Now, if you have a ton of people in there, obviously it's going to be a lot of difficult. So you got to, pick and choose how you do it. Yet, if you have the systems and the technology set up and they're in command, they log in to the system, you can send them a quick email if you have to. Hey, just wanted to say thank you for stopping by my open house. I really look forward to working with you and showing you how I can help you accomplish your real estate goals. I'll get you set up on the portal search. By the end of the day, look forward to hearing from you. Nice and quick.
Love it.
Right.
Love it. Well, I have to share just one of my ahas because I loved, Rich, what you told us, the difference between big rocks, 20% and 80%, and the way that you said it, right? About it. Your big rocks, you're going to go backwards. Your 20%, if you don't accomplish it, you're not going to move forward, right? And then everything else just being a plan, but not necessarily getting there. So I love that. That was huge. I wrote it all down.
That was huge. That was taught to me by someone that Ben, who runs my team. What he used when he worked on Wall Street, running these big, Goldman Sachs companies and stuff. Yeah. This is how they categorized it. I'm like, wow, that just resonates with me way more. I mean, it just resonates with me more than just talking about your big rocks, your 20 or 80%.
Exactly.
Clicks in my mind.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
All right.
All right, anything else? I'll take one more question if anyone has it. Let me know. Speak up. Or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, well,
ahead.
I need some open houses. So do you have any homes that are available for me to do open houses this week?
You would have to, well, what I'll tell you is it's, the answer is you have to talk to Carmela, my listing manager.
Okay, sounds
Yep.
good. Thank you.
Yep, no worries, no worries at all.
You don't know until you ask. Good job.
That's it.
All right. Well, if you, first of all, before you jump off, thank you so much, Rich. That was extremely valuable, and we appreciate you taking time out of your morning and your big rocks to guide us. So we definitely appreciate that. And if you don't mind, when you leave, when you hit end meeting, if you could just hit leave room instead of end meeting for all, because I'm actually going to continue with some command and script stuff with these guys.
So just hit my leave meeting at the bottom?
Yes. And then it's going to ask you if you want to just leave or end meeting. You just want to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you so
right.
much.
If you need anything, send me an email, send me a text, and go ahead, Jackie, you can share my info if you want. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. I will do that.
Thank you. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Kick some butt.
All right, you guys. So that was awesome. Rich is so amazing. I'm so excited that we got the opportunity to listen to him talk to us about goals. And those of you guys that are in PC, we're going to review tonight at 6. We're going to review some of our goal setting and the numbers a little bit more in depth, kind of talking about what Rich was talking about and kind of adjusting that so we can relook at where we're at with transactions and things like that. So we're going to do that tonight at 6. Before we jump into command with the goal setting, I did just want to talk about, I think that was such a great way that he presented big rocks, 20%, 80%, especially in Ignite when we're talking about setting up our success list for the rest of the day. And how critical have you guys been when we get off the call and you go ahead to start the things on your list? Are the things that you're starting truly your big rocks, or are they more of the 80%, the to-do when the should-dos get done? So can some of you guys that have been doing this since last week, or maybe have been in Ignite before, and you're setting up your success list, can some of you guys share what you've been writing down and then be really reflective? Are you following through with it, or do you think after hearing Rich talk about it that it needs some tweaking? What do you think?
Well, yesterday was Mother's Day. I started off the morning pretty strong, but I fizzled in the afternoon. It's like in the afternoon I went off on my own. I kind of got distracted and lost my focus. But yeah, it's just keeping, in my case, you make the plan, just keep to the plan. That's the part, keep on the plan.
And really thinking about those 5 things that we should be time blocking for, right? From Gary: lead generation, lead follow-up, negotiating deals if we have them, going on appointments, and script practice and role play. And those are your big rocks. And until those big rocks are done, then we're not moving on to the next thing on our list. And I think that's so important. And I loved that he said, you know, that one of his goals right now was rephrased to him: what if you, instead of setting a certain number of calls to make, what if you called until you set an appointment with a buyer or a seller or a renter, right? What if you just told yourself, I'm going to call until I do that? And then what if, like he said, if that's the date in 30 minutes you set an appointment, then, oh my gosh, I'm on a roll. I don't care. I'm going to call for 30 more minutes. What if I get another one? Because there are going to be days, the reality of it is you could call, door knock, whatever you want for 4 hours and maybe nothing's going to come out of it. But that day that you were on a roll and kept going is going to make up for it, right? So I want to show you this little piece in command, because this is something actually I personally haven't talked about in coaching. I just have to get myself out of the screen. This is something, there's actually a goals feature on Command. Any of you that are watching or haven't been on an Ignite yet, Command is our Keller Williams tech system that helps us keep track of our entire database and follow up with them. And we kind of just do little highlights from it at the end of each session. So today we're going to focus in on goal setting. And I wanted to show you that that's actually, I know it's down here. So I have goals versus actual. So I can go down here on my main page and I can work on resetting my goals. Does anyone that's watching actually, had anyone actually done this yet? Okay, so I'm gonna briefly.
I have.
Margaret, okay.
Yes, and the first time I did it with like crazy numbers.
Yeah, and we're gonna readjust some of those tonight, just after doing some self-reflection here too for everyone, like actually even prior to Rich talking. So it was actually perfect what he said as well. And you can actually go back and manipulate them if you haven't done that too. So the whole purpose of the goals section is to help you keep track of not only, first of all, just setting your goal to kind of know where you need to be, but then also through having Command and creating your opportunities and tracking those opportunities from appointment to close, it's actually going to help you with your conversion rates as well for when you set your goals for the following year. And like Rich mentioned, he does his around August, September. I typically did mine in October. That's a pretty standard time every October to set yourself up for the following year. So here you can see 2020 goals, and you can click on the plus sign for goals settings. Think it's thinking, there we go. Okay, it's gonna come up to this little Kelly guide and you can choose get started. And then you're going to manipulate your goals. So here you're gonna see this is the goal I'm setting for 2020. And my 2020, if my 2020 profit goal, what I wanna put in my pocket, like Rich was talking about, is $100,000, then I need to think about my expenses and my cost of sales. So cost of sales, when we're thinking about it from Keller Williams end, we're thinking that's when Rich was talking about company dollar and royalty. So if you joined Keller Williams, right, prior to our KWAS CARES that just came out, our old cap was $18,000 for company dollar and $3,000 for royalty. So that cost of sales would be $21,000. Okay, until you pay that part back upon closing, that's your cost of sales. The other part that we're focusing on are expenses. And when we did this, if you were with us first round of Ignite and we used the millionaire real estate agent model, we ended up with a bigger number here. And the reason we had a bigger number here was because we were following that millionaire real estate agent model, which also attributed for teams. So like Rich's expenses running a team is going to be so much higher than us as individual agents. So that's like the adjustment that we're going to focus on later on in coaching, but that's what I want to touch on right now. Like when he was saying, like, we're thinking we've got signs in the program to rent out, so you don't necessarily need that right away. You're kind of thinking about, okay, you can put your schooling into year one. You can think about the marketing and things like that. And then you can think about how much, if you wanted to, so that you didn't have to do this after the fact, you could also put your taxes in here. And he said to kind of account for 20,000. So if I accounted, and for me, I'm the type of person that I'm gonna plan a little bit higher number so that if it comes lower, I'm okay with that, right? Like I have extra money, I can put that into education, or I can put that into savings, or I can put that into my tax hold account for next year, the real estate to pay off. I'd rather be a little bit higher than I would come up short. So if I say my expenses were 10,000, but then let's just say, you know what, I just want to put my taxes in there with it, and Rich estimated about 20,000. So if I just change this number to 30,000, okay, you're seeing what's happening is this wheel, I keep pointing at my screen like you guys can see me. This wheel here is changed. So if my annual profit goal is $100,000, and my cost of sales in KW is 21,000 and my operating expenses is 30,000, then I need to roughly do $151,000 in gross commission income in sales. Okay. And that right now is just saying 50% listings, 50% buyers, because we don't have a ton of data yet. And also on that like $9,000, $300,000 sale type home. So again, they're estimates, right? But if you go down here, that's where, and you can kind of, the cool thing about this is once you know a lot about your business and have it tracked, you're able to manipulate these numbers by looking back at your past records. For those of you that are on the call, that are new or going to be newer to real estate, we recently just changed our cost of sales and it's a 10,000 cap with 3,000 royalties. So rather than you putting 21,000 there, you would be putting 13,000 there. So I just want to make sure for anyone else that's watching, that you know that. And then those of you guys that are on the old cap plan know that when you bring somebody in that's new, your cap can change without having to wait for it. So we're not going to get super into that, but I wanted to at least point that out. Okay, so after you do that, you hit next. And we'll give it a second here before it goes to the next screen. And then you kind of just have to scroll over to the right. So here's where you're going to set your conversion rates. And right now, you might not know because you might not have any converted yet, or it might only be 1 to 2. And this is what Command is going to help you do. So right now they kind of just put in numbers that are, you know, roughly generated like from Gary Keller, MREA for the start. So for me, I'm letting those numbers just be automated there. And a lot of times, like when we're first starting, like Rich is saying, we're talking to our sphere, we do typically have a higher conversion rate when we're first starting because we're working with a lot of friends and family members, maybe not going on as many appointments with strangers just yet. So at this point, okay, I'm gonna save and continue. So I didn't do anything there. I let it automate for me. And then I can look back here at my goal. And it's going to be on my main screen, okay? And then we'll talk even further, let's see, about how to take those numbers then and think about how many appointments do I need to go on every year, how many homes do I need to close, et cetera. So you know the other features, there is a reports page on Command. And I don't know if you guys have visited that page at all or not, but at the end of this process, the reports page is an applet on the left-hand side of your screen, okay, that looks like a bar graph. So this, if I were to click on this part, it'd bring me right to this page and it would show me where I was at by keeping everything tracked in here. So again, this is just another place for you to take a look. Like you can see, this is really cool too because it tracks your activities. Look at smart plans. Look at how much they're working for me, right? Like I am utilizing smart plans to connect with people. Okay, so like I said, we'll break down numbers even further in tonight's coaching call, kind of talking about those lower numbers, but I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that other feature of Command because I don't think it's something that we've all kind of looked at very closely. I want to click this reports one too. So the report one, if I click on that tab, this actually shows me my opportunities. So it shows me how many listing opportunities I have and where they're at in the process. And this is, of course, is old information or practice information to demonstrate with you all. But this would be a great place for you to kind of just go and get familiar with this applet because I feel like it's one that we haven't looked at a lot. So if you haven't, I encourage you to do that for 5 or 10 minutes later today. Okay, we are going to jump into our objection handler. So those of you guys that haven't been on Ignite yet or been through it, typically we're in the market center together, we're partnering off and we're practicing doing script and role play together. We're actually reading through scripts and practicing listening to one another and responding back. So one of the things that we're doing through this virtual session is we are doing objection handlers. So what that means is sometimes we're going to be in appointments, in situations and conversations, and we're going to have a conversation, and then a seller or a buyer or possible client is going to say something back to you, and we need to know how to handle it. So that's why we call it an objection handler. So we're practicing acknowledging what we hear, isolating it, other than blank. Is there anything else that's keeping you from blank? Addressing it by asking powerful questions and educating the client, and then going for the close. So today's objection is coming from a seller. So you go to a listing appointment, you have done all your homework, you're so pumped, you've done your comps, you have just like nailed it, and everything's going well, and the seller says to you, you know, we think we just want to try a higher price for a couple of weeks, and then we'll reduce it if we don't get an offer. Taking a crack today.
Well, Jackie.
Go for it, Margaret. I'll play with you. Go ahead.
What I'm hearing you say is you just kind of want to see if you can get a higher price, and then if you don't get an offer at that price, then you'll go ahead and reduce.
Yeah, if you're what can it hurt, might as well try it.
And I understand that. I hear that from sellers frequently. Let me ask you, other than wanting to try a higher price, is there anything preventing you from moving forward with getting your property on the market?
Oh no, we're ready to go. We want it to go up.
Great, great. And I can certainly help you with that. The one thing I do want to caution you is that the initial marketing period is critical for the sale of your home, and really coming on at the right price and generating a lot of excitement during that initial first and second week is critical to getting your home sold, and also sold at the highest price. Right now, we've got buyers that are just waiting for new inventory to come on the market. And they're ready to pull the trigger, but they're also really savvy, and they know what pricing in their neighborhoods is worth, and they're going to know if you're out of line with that. Also, we want to make sure once you do get an offer that it appraises. And even if you did try at a higher price, if it's outside what the market will bear, we may have trouble getting the appraiser to get the right value on your home.
Oh, so even if somebody offers to pay the higher price, if they don't appraise, we could be in trouble?
Absolutely. What the appraiser is going to do is go back and look at recent sales in your neighborhood, and if they're not consistent with the price that your value has come in with, he may not value it as highly as you, and actually as high as the buyer does.
Okay.
So why don't we do the right thing and go ahead and get your home on the market in the price range that we know the market will bear?
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's awesome. Great job, Margaret. Carrie's clapping. You can't hear her, but I saw her. She's clapping. Ari's clapping. I love it. I love it. Tell me, you guys that were listening, tell me what you liked about it. I'm stopping the share. Let's hear. I mean, it takes guts, right, to come off mute and to share that. What did you like about what Margaret did?
I liked how she explained it.
Hold on. Carrie, could you say that one more time, and then we'll go to Chris? Say it one more time.
Sure. I just liked how she explained to you why you should think about putting it at a higher price. So it made sense.
Yeah.
I would, if I have the chance to do it again, I would actually change it and have it include more questions.
Okay.
Like, I'm sure, do you go on and look at what activity is in your neighborhood? And that's exactly what buyers are doing. I probably would make it more question-based.
Okay. Okay. I like the self-reflection. Chris, what were you going to say?
I like what Margaret said about the, like, you don't want to bring the value down on your home. Like really the initial excitement period, which is when you first get it on there, you want to have it priced at a really good spot, right where the value should be. Because if it is too high, then you're missing out on all those people who were ready, and if you're bringing it down, then those people could pick up. So I like how she explained that part pretty well.
Yeah, I love that. I agree with you guys. And I love the education, Margaret. And I think I love the reflection too, because I think you're totally right. You could educate in a question format too. Like, you know, Jackie, I know you're competitive. Wouldn't you want to be the most competitive one on the market after you shared that, like those information pieces with me, you know, like, but I think it was great. It was great.
This video was brought to you by Keller Williams Arizona Realty TV. Please check out our channel for other great videos. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe.